Good morning, welcome to our channel. This is the Eat What I Eat channel. I'm Tim. If you like what we see, go ahead and put a comment on it. Oops, that's what I said once before, and we did get a comment. We did get a comment from Tim W, who writes to us, and for technical difficulties, we're not able to respond online. So here's what I'd like to do today. I'd like to read his comment. I think you're going to find it very instructive. Tim W is influenced by QAnon, and he says some things on here. Here's what he has to say. Just reviewing, Mike Pence saved the Republic. Mike Pence did not go along with Trump. Mike Pence did not refuse to count the votes. Here's what he says. You're totally wrong. No, that's not what happened. The battleground states went against legislative approval. Period. That's against the Constitution. They broke the law, plain and simple. You conveniently left that out. The vice president is not supposed to approve those swing state electoral votes. The Constitution says that, plain as day. And Pence is a traitor. He destroyed the Republic. Love how people like you avoid laws to make your points. So answer this. When the swing states change the law during an election and count illegal votes, what is that called? You're a fool. Biden ain't doing shit. He's a dictator. 50 executive orders in 2 weeks, destroyed 100,000 jobs first few days in office, and from the looks of it, probably your job. Ha 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 ha. He and his sons are traitors, and Biden committed treason as well as Mike Pence. Biden committed another treasonous act this week along with John Kerry. They colluded with Iran. Let's talk about that. Also, let's talk about how Trump is in control of the military for 60 days. Biden is a legal president, and guess what? This is going to kill you. And if you fact check, if you think that's not true, it's there for everyone to see. Trump ended the USA Corporation back on May 4th, 2020. Laugh out loud. It no longer exists, which means Biden inauguration and presidency is null and void. DC is shut down. It was never part of the United States of America. Trump will be president this year and will be inaugurated on March 4th as the 19th president of the United States Republic. We're moving to a quantum banking system. The United States Corporation is bankrupt. Trump, 2021. Time for the Democrats and the deep state corrupt cabal to be arrested for crimes against humanity and treason. The military is in total control under Trump's orders. You leftists are idiots. It's sad that you're not aware of the corruption of the Biden family and the Pelosi family. She's already detained and being held by U.S. Marshals wherever she goes. I have the video proof if you need that too. I have all the documents as well of the Trump executive order signed ending the United States Corporation. Why do you think the Vatican went into blackout? Special forces went in and took all of our gold and silver that they have stolen from the American people for centuries. That gold and silver will be used to back the new financial system. Good day, sir. Be ready to melt down on March 4th. God is in control, and those evil elites and pedophiles are being arrested. And the CEOs of big companies are stepping down like crazy because they know what's coming. So, I don't know how long it would have taken you to write that, but maybe, I guess 15 or 20 minutes, maybe cut it and paste it, but it seems to be kind of directed towards me. So over and over in our whole videos, we've said if somebody made a comment, we get back with them. It isn't really our place to limit Tim W. Tim W. wanted to write a lengthy comment, so we're going to give him a lengthier thought. Now, we go back on what Tim W. said. He said at the very beginning, you're totally wrong. No, that's not what happened. So we can stop right there and say, hey, look, Tim W. apparently is very partisan. And there's a question we talked about with the staff this morning. Is Tim W. a partisan Republican, or is Tim W. something else? And we concluded he's something else. He's a Q for Trump. He's a QAnon for Trump. The stuff that he's bringing up is way far gone. You know, it's way past Republican. This is not something Liz Cheney's going to be saying. If the Republican Party splits apart, he's going to be in the party that supports Trump. He's very partisan for Trump. He's Q for Trump. And his opinion, he said that I conveniently left things out. He didn't address a point by point of anything that I said. He simply sums up what I say in our video that you might have watched with, no, that's not what happened. And he doesn't make any assertions of facts at all and presents this whole stuff. So I'd like to point out that what I did say and what he did not address is that this happened, the insurrection happened, and this happened on January 6th. Trump was still in office for 2 weeks. And it was unknown at that time. And you can see the angst. If you go back and look at the video that we recorded about this, you can see the angst that people had. We didn't know if Trump was going to blow up the frickin' world to keep himself in power. We didn't know what he was going to do. If Trump followed it, Tim W., if Trump followed through and had Pence refuse to do this and become a dictator, you know, this would be a whole different scenario, a whole different ballgame. Now here's the problem. Tim W. finds that acceptable. Tim W. didn't care at all about the risk to you and me. He says down here it's going to kill us. He doesn't, Tim W., along with Trump, does not really care that much. Tim W. wanted to bring about the chaos. Tim W. wanted to bring about a Trump presidency. That's what Tim W. was looking for. So it's not surprising that he's saying I'm wrong, because I'm wrong in my outlook. I do not want a dictator. I do not want the chaos that Trump was going to use for his own political value. So, Tim W., you're right. You are right about that. I wasn't looking for that. But nevertheless, he says, period, it's against the Constitution that the battleground states went past legislative approval. Watch. It's against the Constitution. Really? What part? Because the Constitution specifically allows the states to conduct their own elections and the states to make those decisions. I'm really sorry to have to contradict you, but you're factually wrong about it. Tim, you can't just write stuff like that. It's against the Constitution, plain and simple, without saying maybe how it's against the Constitution. Because the Constitution currently provides states to make their own rules. Now let me give you an example. In California since 1960, they've had mail-in ballots. For some time, for about 2 decades, you had to present a reason or this or that, or you had to have it signed off or something. But eventually they got to the point where it was just good for them, their state, to have a process where everybody could be absentee voting. Now, how do I know that? Because I personally have absentee voted since the 80s. The 80s and the 90s, the 2000s, and we're up to 2020. For 40 years, I've personally voted for mail. And I can tell you that it's not against the Constitution. Timmy, you're just plain wrong on that. Just saying they broke the law simple and plain, you got to kind of go beyond that. You really didn't make your case by doing that. You're saying I conveniently left that out? I conveniently left out some fact that didn't enter my mind because it isn't even applicable. Let's go on. The vice president is not supposed to approve those swing state electoral votes. Tim, I want to point out to you that in those states, Republicans won congressional offices. Oops. Those congressmen, you're not against taking their seats. Those Congress people who are from those states where you're saying that the election was stolen, they conveniently sat down in those seats. And you know that, right? Are you wanting to throw out all the votes or just the ones you don't like? It appears that you don't want the ones that you don't like. Now, here's what the Constitution says plain as day. That's what he says. The Constitution says that plain as day. No, No, as a matter of fact, it doesn't. If it did, you would have quoted the Constitution. So let me quote the Constitution for you on the relevant point. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, watch, open all the certificates, and the votes shall be counted. Now you can apply things into that, but it wouldn't be plain and simple, like you say. It wouldn't be something I left out. It'd be something you'd have to add to the Constitution. Because the Constitution says that he's there in that capacity. By the way, the President of the Senate is apparently spoken other words, which I don't know. The President of the Senate is the Vice President, And so he was there. Now going back to the original point, if Mike Pence says, like Trump asked him to, and he refused, Mike Pence refused to do it several times, including in writing. Mike Pence sent a letter to Trump saying, no, I'm not going to refuse to do my duty. As near as I can tell, as near as every person who made an opinion on this, the Vice President is supposed to go and supervise counting the votes. He's supposed to open their certificates that are provided, and in kind of in a ceremonial way, like a recording secretary, he'd have a ministerial function of just opening the things and making sure everything's all right. He's going to preside over it in his capacity as President of the Senate. I hope that gives you a little insight. Just don't say things that are not, true and that you can't back up. Mike Pence is a traitor. He destroyed the republic. That would be one of the ones that you can't back up. I don't know how you're saying that he destroyed the republic. So I'm going to go to the next part. Love how people like you avoid laws to make your point. Well, Tim, it seems like you're just kind of making stuff up to make your point. So answer this. When the swing states change the law and count illegal votes, what is that called? Well, maybe you should have left me some choices, because what you're apparently talking about is that during the election, simultaneously with the pandemic, and count votes that you don't like, apparently, I'd call that a free and fair election. I call that a free and fair election. Thanks for asking. The swing states. Apparently you're focused on the swing states because you're interested in overturning the law. In every state where Trump won, the various things that they did to accommodate voting during the pandemic, you don't oppose. You only oppose the votes that went for you. Tim, come on. Isn't that a little beneath you? On your best day, are you nothing more than a partisan? If the opposite was true, if Biden had won those states, you'd be saying to count them or something, whichever way it is. You're a fool. Oh, come on, Tim. You're a fool. You're taking the time to write me all this because you think I'm a moron and can't understand what you're saying? Biden ain't doing shit. He's a dictator. The executive orders that he wrote are in less than Trump did. Trump came in and made the big thing, made his scrolling across the paper and held it up for everybody to see. And now you're complaining about Joe Biden doing the same thing? Come on. I don't know what you're talking about. You said you destroyed 100 jobs. Well, let's agree to disagree on that. The Green New Deal would create some number of jobs. It will put some out of business. Trump promised to save the coal miners' jobs. They're saying he didn't. He promised to support farmers. They're saying now, after 4 years, hey, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. Tim, for a partisan, everything is completely rosy and completely horrible. In real life, it's a mixture, and it just isn't as easy to count them up to 100. You complain in here about his son, are traitors and committed traitors with Mike Pence, and that seems to be something you're real fixated on, is traitors and Trump and treason. They're all T words. You're saying that they colluded with Iran. What is it? Now you're using colluded. Colluded is a word. Colluded is something we're supposed to understand. When Trump colludes, you can't understand it, but when somebody does something, that's the first thing that comes out of your mouth is colluded. The Iran deal is complicated. let's talk about that. Well, you didn't really talk about that. All you did was make some assertions and say that I'm bad and crazy. Trump is in full control of the military for 60 days. His term of office ended. If for some reason he has put himself in charge of the military, it isn't a good thing. It isn't a right thing. It isn't a just thing. It isn't anything that's in the Constitution. And he did it by executive order, something that before you were against. Now you can see that Trump was in control of it. You're for it. Well, Biden is an illegal president. And guess what? This is going to kill you. I don't see, since you have in here a laugh out loud, I don't see that you're really concerned about my life. I don't see that you're really concerned. And you want to do it as in a dance on my grave type of thing. Well, Tim, at least I care about you more than you care about me. At least if something like that happened, I wouldn't laugh out loud about it. I can fact check this if this, you say, I can fact check it if you think it's not true. How in the world would I fact check something crazy like that? Why don't you first present the facts, and then I will. To try to say that Biden is illegal president and Trump is in control of the military and I can fact check it, that's not even true. I'm sure that you know what you mean, but you didn't present it. You say that Trump ended the corporation back on May 4th, 2020, and that exactly 10 months later, on March 4th, 2021, he's going to become president. Well, Tim, seriously, are you thinking that that's what the founders wanted? Are you thinking that that's what God wants? Are you thinking that because Trump found some way to do that? Let's say that that's true. Are you thinking that that's a good thing? In what way could you possibly think that? The only way you could think that is adding in these conspiracy theories about Hillary Clinton is a reptile and that it's so wicked and so evil that the only thing that can be done is just whatever you can, just some desperate thing. Look, that's just not the case. Trump knew that the coronavirus was going to be really bad. And what did he do? He lied about it. What did he do? Nothing. What did he do? He refused to have news conferences for months, and he put his own interest before people dying. Now we've had 500,000 people die of the coronavirus in the United States. Trump could have done a lot. Trump could have been the greatest president in U.S. history. If you don't agree with me on that, well, nuts to you, because you'd have to say he was the greatest president. President Trump on the coronavirus could have come out and been a hero. He could have come out and said, look, I'm going to let the scientific people say this. And when it came to wearing masks, Trump could have said, I'm going to wear a frickin' mask. I'm going to put a mask on until I find out different. I'm going to do everything I can to save people in America. And I encourage every single one of my followers to put the mask on. You know what? That would have not only had a great health benefit, it would have meant that he would have cruised to re-election. You know, the fact is that Trump doesn't have to go through all this QAnon thing to be president again. You want to go back and revisit history? You want to go back and say, this is what happened, this is what happened? Let me tell you something. If Trump had just done the right thing, if Trump had been a decent and kind human being and put his stupid mask on, back when the scientific people were saying put on masks, not like the people in South Dakota, the people in California who put on masks, and he'd been like a mask wearer, he'd be president today. None of this would have come up if President Trump had done the right thing. So all this other conspiracy stuff that you have, you can't even win on the merits. The merits say that Donald Trump was a stinking, disgusting slime ball of a human being who wouldn't put on a mask to save people's lives. You won't put on a mask for people that you're sworn to represent because you don't want to. While knowing that it's the right thing for them, you make an example of doing the opposite. You're a disgusting pig of a human being. Sorry, President Trump. Sorry, Tim W. It's just the way it is. You say in here that we're moving to a quantum banking system. I want to address that idea of a quantum banking system. A lot of people on our channel probably haven't heard of quantum banking system, and I'm not going to make a huge deal about it. However, only gold-backed currencies can participate. Listen, Tim W. says we're going to a quantum-backed banking system. Yeah? Good. Only gold currencies can participate. Now you mentioned in here that I'm willing to overlook facts. Tim, are you willing to acknowledge that only gold-based currencies, gold-backed currencies can participate? If that's true, please put on my channel, please comment on the channel which currencies in the world are gold-backed, because I'm not aware of any. There are no currencies in the world that are currently gold-backed. So right now, there are no countries that qualify to be a quantum banking system. But let's take a look at that for a second. A quantitative banking system is a world banking system. So Tim, we have to ask, big QAnon patriot guy, we have to ask, are you really a world citizen? Because the world banking system will be controlled by people who are, wait for it, not Americans. It will be a world system. So you're against the world system, but you're for the world system. Tim, you're really confused. Write me a few more comments and we'll try to sort this out for you. The United States Corporation is bankrupt. We know this. I want to put this in, lump this in together. You're saying that I'm not aware of the corruption of the Biden and the Pelosi family. Look, when I'm trying to tell you that Trump, the president just out, is corrupt, you can't supersede that by saying, oh, Pelosi and Biden are corrupt. What the nice people from the Christian Coalition do is no matter what you bring up, thanks to Christian Coalition buddies, Melody Smith and Don Smith, when you bring up something about Trump that doesn't go perfectly for Trump, instead of addressing it, instead of saying, you know what, maybe he shouldn't have called Mexican people rapists. What Melody and Dawn do is they go, rapist? Oh my God, rapist? What about Hillary Clinton? Why, she defended a rapist. Oh, so there's nothing I can tell you that would ever allow you to say, hey, maybe Trump is a human being and has errors and flaws and faults like everybody else. On this part about the Biden family and the Pelosi family, that doesn't excuse the corruption of Donald Trump. I'm sorry about that, Tim, but it's just that you could make the case that they're all corrupt, and I probably agree with you. You put in here that Nancy Pelosi is detained and held by U.S. Marshals wherever she goes. I have video proof. Well, I'm sure that you must have a low standard of proof, because you probably can do that. Maybe some videos that you obtained from One News Network or something like that, or Alex Jones. Perhaps you obtained some videos for Alex Jones. But we'll find out on March 4th, when Nancy Pelosi is not in federal marshal control. Why do I think the Vatican went into blackout? I have no idea if the Vatican is in blackout. I have no idea if it's connected with Trump in some way. I have no idea if the U.S. Special Forces have stolen the gold from the Vatican. You make the case, Tim, that the U.S. forces were able to, because they're good, they were able to go steal stuff. Well, how is that different than any other robber baron in history? Well, because we're on the right side. You're on the right side, Tim. You're claiming you're on the right side. God is on your side. Okay, God is on your side. And one of the last points that Tim writes about is that CEOs of big companies are stepping down like crazy because they know it's coming. Well, I haven't seen any evidence of that. Tim, you could have gone ahead and named them. You could have gone ahead and shown what you're talking about. I see absolutely no evidence of that. Well, Tim, again, I want to thank you for writing. I want to thank you for taking the time to comment. I hope I fulfilled my promise to you. I hope I responded like I promised I would. I tried to hit the highlights of what you were saying. Tim, I find that your opinion is just your opinion, and that you're a little weak on the facts. If you want to, put another comment in. Put as many comments as you like. You can take them one at a time if you want. But put a few more facts in. I'm not going to fact check stuff that I can't even tell what you're talking about. If you put in some facts and you have a different opinion than me, I respect that. I respect the fact that you wrote in. I thank you for writing in. We hope that everybody else got an interesting insight into the QAnon people, into the things that Tim is talking about. And I do like that on March 4th, what day of the year is a command? March 4th. Let's see if Donald Trump comes and marches forth to be the 21st President of the United States. You know, Tim, I do find it a little weak on the facts. I would like to address some of the facts. So here are some of the questions I have for you. Now, Hillary Clinton is a reptile, correct? And she's an alien reptile. What planet is she from? Now, she likes to eat children. What kind of children does she prefer? Does she like blonde-haired children from Norway? Does she like them all? What is it specifically that Hillary Clinton needs in her diet for a reptile? Could you go ahead and publish that? Would be really kind of you. And if you have photographic evidence of that, I'd really like to see it. Tim, I want to thank you again, and thank everybody for tuning into the channel today, and welcome more comments. Until then, this is Tim for Eat What I Eat Diet. I'll see you again.